If he were a bowl of cereal, he would be heart healthy. Brace yourselves, folks. For the first time ever, the legendary elk hunter, Doug Fluty, has made an appearance on a podcast. There exists a threat, from anti-hunting groups to politicians trying to give our land away, and we won't stand for it. Those vast western landscapes provide the space for our wildlife to thrive and a place for hunters and anglers to fuel the fire that sparks their soul. In this show, we share our love of hunting, fishing, and conservation. Here, we provide the foundation to meet these threats through passion and the grit of the American outdoorsman. Welcome to the Western Huntsman Podcast. All right, we're rolling. Welcome, guys, to episode number 23 of the Western Huntsman Podcast. Thanks a bunch for tuning in. Glad you guys are here. I have a hell of an episode for you today with Doug Fluty, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that in just a minute. Before I get into that, I've got a couple of big announcements, and they're really exciting for me, and they're really important to this podcast and the future of the podcast. We would like to formally announce the sponsorship and partnership with Phelps Game Calls and Scree. And this is going to be basically, we don't know if it's going to be temporary or permanent, but we got some cool stuff happening with both of these sponsorships for the show. And before I talk about that, I want you guys to know, I will make you a promise. I'm not going to peddle you a bunch of products that are irrelevant to a hunter. Or, they just don't, not something that I believe in. There's a lot of criteria that has to be met to be a partner and a sponsor of the Western Huntsman Podcast. And that's important to me because I know that sometimes advertising can get a little bit irritating on a podcast, right? The necessity and the balance that has to be found out of that is gonna be kind of explained to you in this way. First of all, you guys know, if you've been listening to this show, I'm not like a big-time gear junkie. I mean, hell, I've been running the same PSE bow for a decade now, and I've got all these fancy rifles. Well, I don't have a bunch, but enough. But you know what I always end up choosing? My 1968 Model 94 Winchester 30-30 iron sights. I call it the Hell Bitch. I call her the Hell Bitch. And she has been with me on many a deer hunt. And for some reason, I always go back to using this rifle. I just, it's like a sentimental thing or something. I don't know. But, and that said, I don't have all the huge, wildly popular gear and replace it every year. And I'm just not much of a gear junkie. So you guys know, if I'm recommending something, it's because I firmly believe in the product itself. I've used it. I've tested it. It's not something that somebody called me up one day and said, "Hey, Jim, you want to announce this on your podcast for such and such?" And I'll be like, yeah, just send it over. I'll take care of you. No, I don't do that. This is proven gear, and if I'm announcing it to you, it is only because I believe in it, and I feel like if you are in the market for this specific item, that you would benefit from having it as well. Okay? So these two companies met the criteria that I set for this show. We've got limited spots available for advertising and sponsorships and things of that nature on the Western Huntsman Podcast, because I don't want to bore you guys to death with all that kind of stuff. But these two, they made the cut. Scree Gear. If you're not familiar with Scree, you need to jump on the website, and I'll put that in the show notes, and check it out. If you are in the market for some new high-quality technical hunting apparel, whether you're hunting the West, or you're going to Alaska, or you're going to the damn Arctic, wherever, you need it. You really should consider some Scree Gear. And there's going to be a promo code coming out next week for you. But this stuff is, you're not going to need a second mortgage to purchase this gear, which is really important to me. Like, I don't have $2,000 to drop on technical hunting apparel, right? And I suspect a lot of people in this audience don't either. This is the kind of stuff that you don't want to mistake the price point for the quality point, because the quality is there. I've been testing it all spring. I've taken it. It's taken a real beating this spring in the backcountry, chasing bears and hunting turkeys and all these things I've been doing the last several weeks. It has taken a beating, and it still is. It holds up. It's durable. It does its job. It's got concealment. It's a great product. And two really important things about Scree, the two major points that I think people need to be aware of is this stuff has a lifetime guarantee. It's a legitimate guarantee, and the lifetime warranty, and it's got the VIP sizing guarantee, which is really important because the sizing can be funky with this kind of gear, and they recognize this. So every time you order something from Scree, it shows up in a box with a return label package. So all you have to do is repack it and send it back, and they'll replace it for you. Great customer service. It's a great company. Phelps, same thing, guys. I mean, everybody knows Phelps, right? And I've been running Phelps for a long time. Their main thing is going to be your elk calls. And I've been using all of the Phelps gear for such a long time. I mean, I can't remember the name of that first Phelps reed I bought, but it was years ago. And I actually called in my first elk with it. What I like about the Phelps stuff is, like, it's great for advanced callers, but it's also really good stuff for a new caller just getting in, learning how to call elk. This is the stuff you want to try. They have everything from very entry-level type kind of reeds and different thicknesses in the latex and different feels. They all feel different in your mouth, and they're all screamers. And so try them out. Figure out which one works best for you. Personally, I really like the Maverick, and that's the Dirk Durham signature reed. And I don't say that because, Dirk and I really like Dirk. We're like homeboys, right? I don't say that because of that. I legitimately really like this reed. This Maverick reed is awesome. So check that one out, and check out the pink is actually, we always like to make fun of the pink reed. It's actually a pretty good reed. It's a screamer, man. Anyway, they also have a full line of, I've been using their call that's the Blacktail Fawn in Distress for bear. I have not called in a bear yet, but I think that luck is going to change this weekend because I'll be bear hunting this weekend, and the fawns have been dropping lately. So I've got high hopes for the call, but I've called in a ton of coyotes with that thing on accident. So and then they're getting into waterfowls, they're getting into deer calls. They've got just a full line. Check out the website. It's going to be in the show notes. And for you guys that are in the market for that stuff, use promo code Huntsman10 and you will get 10% off. So that is pretty cool. Guys, again, I really just from the bottom of my heart want to thank the sponsors on the show. It's really important to us as we move forward in the future of the podcast. These guys, I really believe both companies, they've got these founders, right? And they started with this good old-fashioned American story, right? They had this vision to build a company. They had a vision for a product that they felt was missing within the industry. And they both picked themselves up by the bootstraps, put things together, and made it happen. And now they've got these two fantastic companies, two totally different people that probably don't even know each other, but they have very similar stories. I love a good American success story, and that's what these companies are. They were born out of necessity within themselves. They had a vision, they had a dream, and now look at them. They're kicking butt, man. They're just awesome companies. So there's that. All right, guys. So moving on, I wanted to do a quick reminder of our giveaway that we've got going on right now, and one of them is thanks to Phelps Game Calls. If you listen to the School of September series I had with Dirk Durham last week, we released it, and you've not listened to it, that's how you're going to figure out or learn how to get on into this giveaway. So the first place prize is a monster calling kit. And that is going to, basically, it's got a Renegade bugle tube, 3 Maverick reeds, 1 Double D external cow call, and this really slick little a call pouch that you can put all your reeds in, and you can actually connect the cow call to it. So it's pretty slick. The second place prize is going to be a tumbler and a hat, both with the Bugler brand on them, the logo, and they're sweet hats. If you haven't seen them, go to my Facebook or the Instagram page, and you'll see a picture of them. They're really sweet. In fact, I actually wanted this tumbler so bad that I just went ahead and jumped on thebuglerbrand.com and bought my own because I don't want to give this one away. So that's where we're at with that. By the way, you have to listen to the episode and enter right. I'm getting these random emails of people are like, yeah, hey, I want to be in the giveaway. That's not how it works. You send an email to the right place, but you didn't do the entry. You need to listen to that episode, the Dirk Durham School of September series episode, to know how to get entered into that giveaway, because that's going to take place. You have until Friday the 29th coming up. That's like 4 or 5 days away from when I'm recording this. And then we're going to cut it off. Now, again, I'll be out of town. I'm going on a bear hunt, so I'll be out of service, and I won't see any of that until Monday. And I'm going to announce the winner in next week's episode. So don't miss it. Check it out, Jim at thewesternhuntsman.com, and that's where you're going to send your entry into. So today's interview, guys, I tracked down a real, true elk hunting legend for you, for your listening enjoyment. The man's name, you may have heard it before, Doug Fluty. The Doug Damn Fluty. He even signed the wall here in the Broken Time studio. I had him on the show. I'm pretty sure it's his first podcast. Pretty proud of that. First person to get Doug Damn Fluty on his podcast. Now, disclaimer, guys, this is a tongue-in-cheek episode, okay? Meaning, don't take the advice that you hear in it from both your humble host, myself, and Doug Damn Fluty. Don't take the advice literal. This is a tongue-in-cheek episode. If you don't appreciate sarcasm and you don't have a sense of humor and you don't feel like laughing today and you want to take this serious and like send me a bunch of nasty emails, this is probably not going to be the episode for you. Like I told you, I hope you had your Wheaties, because this is a really funny episode and we have a lot of fun. Let's give it up for Doug Fluty. He is to elk calling what Al Gore is to the internet, and I hope you guys really enjoy this episode. Oh, and by the way, if you know who is maybe and possibly the real Doug Fluty, shoot me an email and send that to me. I might have a giveaway for that too. Enjoy it, guys. Here we go. Hey guys, I told you I was going to come on with Doug Fluty, the real Doug Fluty. I've found the actual, of all the conversations going on between podcasts and YouTube videos, everybody talking about Doug Fluty, I tracked him down, and you guys are in for a treat. How you doing, Doug?
Hey, y'all. Doug Fluty here.
All right.
Doug Damn Fluty.
Doug Damn Fluty. I even had him sign the wall in the urinal.
I did.
Here at the Broken Times.
It was hard to do left-handed because, the other hand was busy. But, yeah, I got her done.
Yeah, you did get her done, man. I like it. Doug, where in the hell did you learn to call, first of all?
Well, it's kind of a long story, if you will.
Indulge me.
Well, Grandpappy, he had this piece of coiled-up copper tube that he called his elk flute. And the harder you blew, the higher pitched it got. And I'll tell you what, I'm here to tell you, that old man could call some bulls, okay? And so I learned on the little elk flute, if you will.
The elk flute?
Yeah.
Is that where the name Fluty came from, or?
It is. That, and it's my last name, too.
Okay.
My
good.
real last name.
That's your real last name.
Well, I changed my name to that.
Do you actually have a birth certificate?
I do.
Because I was under the impression that Doug Fluty was like just kind of roadkill that survived. So you actually have a mom and everything.
I do, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Good deal.
Well, I did, bless her heart. She's no longer with us, God rest her soul.
Doug Fluty. So Doug Fluty, I'm excited to have you on. I want to get some really good advice from you for some of our new elk hunters and some of even our experienced elk hunters out there that want to kind of dial in their season. This season's about 4 months away, and I think you got a lot of good information for people.
Look, Chachi, there's a lot of guys out there giving all sorts of information, and I'm here to tell you. I'll tell you right now, not of it's all legit. Most of it's garbage. So you fire away. I got all the questions, all your answers.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay,
I got all the answers to all your questions, son.
Now listen, Doug. I'm trying to keep a straight.
Sorry,
face.
I drank my lunch. All right.
You and me both. Here's a question for you. And this is a serious question. When you're leaving an empty can of sardines in natural light on the mountain for other hunters to find 10 years later, do you prefer leaving them on the north face or the south face slope?
I like it on the south face. Look, what the deal is you put that thing on the north face, it's going to mold and it's going to get all mossy.
Oh, good point.
But I can leave a little message in the bottom of the can. I can say Doug Fluty was here. And leave that for, future generations to see, what us old school hunters ate to fuel our natural bodies in the wilderness.
That's good. I wouldn't have ever thought about the mold in the sardine can.
Yeah, you don't
That's a
want
great
the mold.
point.
Yeah.
You don't want mold. No, especially it kind of sucks. It kind of sealed the hunter over 10 years later when they find that. We don't want moldy.
No. They might try to eat
it. They might try to eat it, especially if do you ever leave any sardines in the sardine can?
No, sir. No, sir. I will not leave a sardine behind.
Ah, gotcha. Okay, good. Road hunting. Putting the truck in park and jumping out, or having the shooter ride in the bed and fling an arrow while still moving. What is your recommendation?
Listen, there's only one way and one way only to road hunt. Well, maybe two. And it involves one guy driving, drinking his favorite Chardonnay, and the other friend in the back with his bow, arrow locked and loaded, ready to go anytime. You never know. A bull might jump out at any second. Okay?
Yep.
Now, another way you might do it is put the hunter in front of the truck and follow along very slowly behind him. Because you never know. He may need headlights. It may be dark. I'm not going to say we're stretching the laws here or nothing. But, it's pretty nice to have a little headlight and some light on the subject, if you know what I mean. But, I'll tell you a little story. A few years ago, we were in Idaho hunting.
Mm-hmm.
And my good friend Jed was walking up the road in front of us. It hadn't broke day quite yet. And these old Idaho boys, these locals, come pulling up behind us, and they were being rude. They were following right behind, tailgating, if you will.
Just plumb rude.
And finally, I had to jump out and said, "Look, coaches, we're trying to hunt here. Back off." And you know what happened?
What?
Well, there came to a split in the road, and we parted ways. Well, we made a nice hunt. We putted around the national forest there, doing a little bit of road hunting. On our way back out, there was a gate that was open previously. Them sons of bitches, they took that gate. It's one of them guardrail gates. It's got them big bolts. So they put the rail back on the two posts, put the nuts and bolts through it, and they took a big rock and they bent the bolts down.
They bent it.
Yeah, and when you got a 78 two-wheel drive Chevy Suburban, you ain't getting around no tape traps.
No, not at all.
I didn't have, you know what I had to do?
What?
I had to use, it's a good thing I'm prepared. I have a thing called a Leatherman tool. I used a little saw on that, and I had to saw through that creosote post to get out of there. It took us about a day and a half.
Holy cow, that is quite a story, Doug.
It ain't no laughing matter.
No, that's not a laughing matter. No. You could have been stranded up there for days.
Yeah. I mean, the worst part was we ran out of beer.
Oh, yeah.
By 9 a.m. that morning, so we were thirsty still.
Are you guys are natural light kind of beer drinkers, or what do you recommend?
Well, my favorite is Hams. It's the beer refreshing.
That's actually a really great point. I'm glad you said that because I can stock up on that stuff too.
Yeah.
What about for like serious elk hunters, right?
Mm-hmm.
The guys that really want to get after it. What is the best cigarette that you recommend on the mountain?
Marlboro Red.
Marlboro Red?
No doubt about it. I mean, if you want to be a real man and you want to hike the mountains and look cool while you're doing it, Marlboro Red hardpack.
Hardpack.
There's a lot of these young fellers out there, and I don't know, they're wearing their skinny jeans and they're puffing on these e-ciggies, or I believe they call it vaping.
Yeah.
Vaping. And I'm sorry, son, you're never going to be a man smoking on one of them there vape sticks.
I agree.
All right.
So Marlboro Reds in a box. Do the elk smell that?
No, it's a good wind checker.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I kind of figured.
It's a wind checker and a cover scent because, listen, I'm here to tell you, all these so-called experts will say, be downwind of the elk. Stay downwind of the elk when you're calling them in. Listen, if you're going to use cigarettes as a cover scent, being downwind does you no good. You have to go upwind, and you use your cigarette as a cover scent. Fire's been around since the dawn of time, all right?
Mm-hmm. True.
Elk have made friends with fire a millennium ago. That's a real word, millennium. Look it up.
And it's a long time.
In a long time. And I'll tell you what, they smell smoke, and they're like, it's okay. A little bit of a forest fire over here. I'm not concerned. Oh, whack! Oh, what's that? Dang! Too late. Nailed it.
I love it, man. That's great advice. What kind of shot placement do you recommend?
If it's brown, it's down. I'm taking any shot I can. Listen, it's a game of opportunity. All these guys in their broadside shots, all preaching and looking down their nose at it. I'll tell you what, the most deadly elk hunting shot you can make is called a Texas heart shot. Right up the old yin-yang.
Oh, yeah.
It takes out all the plumbing. They die within seconds. Look it up.
Okay.
It ain't a pretty
What did
sight.
you call it again?
It's a Texas heart shot.
Texas heart shot.
You basically shoot them in the bum.
Guys, I'll put that in the show notes. Can you go ahead and give us a call on your what call do you have there? Do you have a recommendation that hunters should use?
It's gotten, there's been so many laws now and all these environmental situations with the copper tubing and saying it causes cancer and weird things. It's really hard to get good, high quality copper tubing, or better yet, galvanized tubing. So I've got me a little secret. Well, I don't know how much of a secret. I mean, it's probably the best selling elk call of all time, but it is called the Terminator.
The Terminator.
And I'll tell you what, you stack up a big bull with one of these, and he knows he's been terminated.
Excellent.
All right.
Excellent. Let's hear it.
Yeah.
You're pretty good on that thing, Doug.
Well, I've been doing it for a while. I bought this thing last week. No, just kidding. Just kidding. I've spent a lifetime mastering the art of elk calling with a flute.
With a flute. Okay,
Yeah.
good. Now, do you have a promo code for either a flute or a Terminator or Primo's Hoochie Mama?
Listen, I like their calls, but I don't like them. All
Okay,
right? I've
okay.
gone for them for years trying to get celebrity endorsements, and they said, we never heard of you, Doug.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
We've
never
all heard
of
of
you.
Doug Fluty.
Well, they heard about it. Well, they talk a lot of smack about your old friend Doug.
Oh, that's
everybody's
that's
down
too
on
bad.
him.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I get a lot of negative publicity,
Yeah.
and I don't know why. I guess they hate you because they ain't you.
Yeah, and I wanted to talk about that negative publicity you get because I hear it a lot too. And can I get your reaction on some that I've got?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I'd love to vent a little bit.
Yeah, let's vent. So I've got a couple of things that is just it's been bothering me because I knew you were coming on the show, and take it with a grain of salt. And understand that, these people don't know you personally. But I do want to get your reaction since we got you on the show. Okay?
I've always been a firm believer if somebody was to spend a little bit of time with your dear Doug Fluty, we'd be best friends within minutes.
I get that feeling just sitting with you here in the Broken Time studio. So I'm really excited to get your feedback on this and
All right.
get your reaction
All right,
here.
let's hear it.
We'll let this one roll. I recorded this with my wife last year up on the mountain hunting elk. Here's what she had to say about Doug Fluty. That sounded like Doug Fluty. Where do you think he is?
On the next ridge, sitting down to pee.
And then Randy Newberg was caught saying this awful thing.
It doesn't matter if I'm on the mountain or at Dairy Queen. I've been dealing with Doug Fluty since Moby Dick was a minnow.
This next one tears at my heartstrings, too. Have you seen Doug Fluty hunt?
Doug Fluty sucks at hunting.
Brutal. Then there's this.
Mr. President, what's your take on Doug Fluty?
Such a nasty one.
Trust fund.
Can you expand?
Look, he's a showboat. He's a grandstander. The FBI has been in turmoil. You know that.
Okay, thank you.
Let's just keep it going. What do you think of Doug Fluty?
My grandma calls elk better than Doug Fluty.
Oh. I mean, even Dirk Durham, who's normally a super nice guy, had this to say about you.
Good morning from Public Land America. We've got a little bugling match going on with Doug Fluty this morning.
What? I mean, I know that's hard to listen to, Doug. Give us your reaction on some of that.
Well, my first reaction is, you know what? I'm a man. I am just a man, and I got a heart, and it hurts a little bit. It hurts down deep inside.
Yeah.
But number two, I'm a little pissed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think all these so-called experts you interviewed really know a darn thing about calling elk.
I can't believe my wife had negative things to say. I mean, that's just, I'm going to have a talk with her later.
Well, I didn't say anything about her tater tot casserole either. But,
exactly.
But I'm a gentleman and a scholar.
Yeah. And
I've read a book or two. They were small. It might have been my, how to change oil in a Chevrolet.
Okay, so like those were bad enough. Was that my dog? My dog's barking. Sorry, Doug.
What's he doing to my tire out there?
I don't know. He might be chewing on your tire out there. He's not very vocal usually. Anyway, he must have heard the bugling going on.
Yeah, could have.
All right, so those were pretty obnoxious. The worst one yet has been the song that came out that made the top 10 in the Billboard charts. I think it got a Golden Globe trophy or something like that as well. Let's play that and see what you think about that. About 10 a.m., he rolls out of bed, thumps his chest and says, "That elk is dead. He's Doug Fluty." That's right, it's Doug Fluty. He bugles from his truck with his window down and dreams of wapiti singing back that sound. It's Doug Fluty. That's right, it's Doug Fluty. The great hunter Doug Fluty. Big bad Doug Fluty. He bought a new call just the other day. Hasn't made a sound with it until today, but he's Doug Fluty. That's right, it's Doug Fluty. After a 100-yard walk, he heads back home, cursing the bull that he says got blown. Damn the wind, he'll say to his friends, as he posts an epic picture to his wall again. Doug Fluty. That's right, it's Doug Fluty. The nifty Doug Fluty. The Doug Fluty, Tutti Frutti. Doug Fluty. Okay, so obviously they don't know you personally, but what do you say to that?
Well, I tell you, that guy, he had some good points there. I kind of like that song, except at the end he said Tutti Frutti.
Yeah, that's rude.
Listen, Chachi, I don't swing that way whatsoever. So just go ahead and you can run and tell that.
I'll let him know. I know him. I might get him on the show.
Yeah, well, I wish you would. I wish you'd have got him here right face to face. I bet he wouldn't have been quite so Tutti Frutti right here.
The words.
I'd have kicked his sassafras all up and down this Broken Town studio.
All the stuff that he set aside. What'd you think of that cow call he was doing in there though?
A little chirpy.
Was it a little chirpy?
Yeah, it needs to be whiny.
Yeah.
It has to be yearning.
Yeah. I agree.
Like, hey, old son, come over here. You remember me from last year, don't you? Come and get some.
Yeah, I like it. I want to talk about that. I think a lot of people, when you're using the hoochie mama, what would be the best pressure on the ball to really seduce a fired up bull?
Well, you have to have two of them. You ever seen them old westerns where the old boy has one pistol, one 6-shooter, and he goes to draw and it's like, snap, I'm out of bullets.
Oh, yeah.
You got to have two. Then you sound like dueling cows who are quite amorous, looking for a good time. And I don't know any bullet can turn down two ladies. You know what I'm saying?
No, definitely.
I mean, whether you're up here in what's that little bar up here by the flashing red light here by what is that little town where you
Athol?
Up in Athol.
Oh yeah.
That little watering hole down there.
Yeah.
I mean it.
That's a two hoochie mama type kind of situation.
You might run into a situation in there like that.
So hard and fast on the hoochie ball, or slow and sensuous?
It's a process, really. You start out slow, and then you start rapid fire. I mean, but I like to kind of give them a real long, seductive one in the beginning with my elk flute.
Let me hear it. That's really good, Doug.
It sounds really good. I mean, I don't think there's too many people out there that can make that reproduce that sound.
I don't think so either.
I've kind of patented it, really. I tried to get Primos to pay me for it, but I don't know, something about that cease and desist letter they sent me. I guess they don't want it.
Gotcha. Okay, so let's talk a little elk strategy. All right. Okay, so when an elk is almost in range, but he's like behind some brush. You know how they sometimes get a little hung up behind some brush, or you just need him to take a few more steps. Do you give him the resting bitch face, or just pretend you're not there?
Listen, I'll give you one better.
Okay.
All right. Both of those, I mean, those are amateur moves, really.
Even the resting bitch face?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Listen, Larry Bird didn't win consecutive NBA Most Valuable Player by just making swishes.
Yeah.
I mean, he did a lot of bank shots, and that's what I would do. I would just bank it off of a tree branch or maybe even off the side of a tree. Bank it in. It'll go right in. You can hit the vitals. I mean, you'll get some blood on the ground, and listen, I'm gonna just be frank with you. If you're not tracking blood, you ain't hunting.
I agree. So bank shot that bad boy right off a tree.
Oh yeah, a rock, tree, tree limb. I mean, if you can hear them in behind the brush, it's okay too. I mean, just take that shot. It may be the only shot you get.
It might be. Yeah, that's true. And it might make it through without deflecting if you think about it. Through some, I mean, especially up here in the Idaho area.
No, I hope it deflects right into his jugular.
Yeah, good point. Can you give us I want to talk a little bit more on gear stuff why is Fruit of the Loom such an exceptional underwear for elk hunting?
Well, I like them here. Well, I can't speak for every sportsman out there, but here's why I like them.
Mm-hmm.
You put them on, they're nice and comforting and supportive. But as the day goes by, as them babies stretch out, and you might as well be wearing a dress by the end of the day. But Big Jim and the twins, that lets them air out. So you don't want to get any, condensation or too hot up in there. I mean, that's no fun for anybody.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Okay, gotcha. Can you talk to us about thermals? I mean, you and I know that they really don't matter. Do you find it easier in your 100-yard hike from the mountain or on the mountain? Do you park on top and head down first thing in the morning, or how do you go about the whole wind discussion, thermals?
Well, I don't really pay too much attention to the wind while I'm in the seat of the truck. I just if the wind's blowing really hard, I turn the thermal up all right. I'll turn the heater up and get it warm in there. But, when you bugle from the seat of the truck, I don't waste a bunch of time hiking ridge top to ridge top. Listen, it's only natural to catch an elk in the road and spook them off. If they hear a truck coming and you might spook them away, it's okay. You just bugle right out the window, wait a little bit, bugle out the window, maybe give them one of those seductive cow calls like I demonstrated earlier.
Oh, yeah. Can you give us another one? That works pretty good, huh? That's I could see that a bull would hear that and just wouldn't be able to control himself. He'd come in.
Oh, he'd be coming in belly slapping. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He'd be belly slapping all the way up there, making that
that's
funny
fantastic
noise they make.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even make it with my. Let me see if I can make it with my.
Yeah,
flute.
try it. Oh, glunking.
Yeah,
he's doing a little glunking.
That's what his the business end of that bull elk slapping on his belly. That's what makes that noise.
Yeah.
Look it up. It's science.
What's like when you get an elk down? What's the process from there? Do you quarter it out, or you just kind of roll it on into the truck? And obviously, if you don't drive a Dodge, you can do that. But
I do not drive a Dodge. I mean, this is America. I mean, I don't wear skinny jeans. And I don't like to push my truck home. No,
I know what gender you are.
Well, there's only two genders.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So when you get an elk down, you just roll it on in there.
Well, no. What I do, I got 87,000 feet of cable. And I just hook on it with my truck. I run the cable over the hill, hook it on the elk. I got a little pulley system up there, hook it onto the bumper, and I just drag it. I just drag that bull right up out of the hole. Sometimes you get in a bind. You just got to put her in low range, give it some gas. You just pull that bull right up to the road. Then you got to get a come along. You just come along that joker right in the back of the truck. Boom, done. Don't worry about skinning. Don't worry about the gutless method. I mean, you roll them guts out, cut out the heart and liver, the oysters for later, and it's all a day's work. I mean,
do you have like a tradition when you get an elk down that you do, cut the tenderloins out and cook them right up on a rock right there, or what's kind of your go-to?
I'm kind of ashamed to say it, but I might cut the oysters out.
All right, straight face it.
Cut the oysters out, put those in my pocket because, you don't want to lose those things on the hill, But you have to leave that pecker on there, business end of the bull elk.
Sure.
Because that's evidence of sex. The first few years of my life, I was a little embarrassed when the game warden checked me because they had I didn't know what evidence of sex was. I had all these pictures and whatnot, and it was not what they were looking for.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
I know what you mean. That'd be an damned embarrassing situation.
He wrote me a different kind of ticket.
Oh,
for that.
Gotcha. Dang.
Yeah, I'm still paying for it.
Ooh,
I can't go near elementary school or a post office.
Did you get a payday loan to pay that?
I did.
Okay.
I had to hawk my truck as a '73 Toyota.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, 4x4. Yeah.
Dang. I hate hearing that. I hate hearing. Speaking of trucks, like if you just wound an elk, let's say you got your hunter in the back seat and whoever's driving with drinking beer. If you just wound an elk, do you just finish them off by running them over?
Well, I usually pull out a rifle. There's a written law of code of ethics. If you wound a bull elk with a bow and arrow, if he just doesn't drop on sight, you pull out your rifle and you shoot him.
Okay.
It's legal in 50 states.
Oh, it is legal.
Look it up.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's a lot nicer for the track. It's more humane, if you will.
Yeah, that is a lot more humane. I'm smelling what you're stepping in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but if you miss, that guy that missed, he don't get no more beer.
He's done.
He's done. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, losers.
I wouldn't want to be that guy.
Losers don't get beer. We just want winners. Agree. And winners drink all the beer. Let me tell you what.
What makes a winner in your mind?
Well, a man who's not scared to blow a flute right in the face of his opponent, whether that be some snooty fluty elk hunting jerk from the city blowing them big flaps his gums game calls tubes, or a bull elk. I mean, you just got to be loud and proud all the time.
Yeah,
and that's a winner in my book.
Gotcha. That's great. That's great advice. I wish more people would listen to advice like that. Yeah, for sure. What else do you have in terms of strategy for, let's say we got somebody who's never been elk hunting. What do you tell that guy? He wants to go out this year, or gal.
Best thing you do, go to a yard sale. Pick yourself up a bow, go to pawn shops, pick up your arrows. It don't matter if you got matching broadheads. It don't matter if you even have anything to carry them in. Just carry them in your hand. All these fancy quivers and stuff these highfalutin guys, these fancy pants guys got. No, man, you go out there with whatever arrows you got and don't waste your time shooting them at targets. That just dulls the tips. You want to go out there. First shot, cut on contact. I mean, sometimes you even get those expandable ones. And they're pretty good too, especially, maybe not for that Texas heart shot as much, but maybe if you get one right in the guts, that's a great tip for the guts.
Yeah, to really chew them up.
It'll open them up like a can of tuna fish.
Yeah. Well, clearly I'm going to have to edit some. Okay, let's go back to the gear topic, Doug. I like getting everybody's recommendation, advice on like a good pack for packing meat or packing into the mountain and getting back after, if you get sick of road hunting, sometimes you gotta get out of that truck. What do you recommend?
That's just crazy talk.
What do you mean? Expand on that.
Let me shoot it to you straight.
Okay.
If you're packing elk meat on your back, you're doing it wrong. You got to load them whole or at least cut them in half. That's the only way to do it. These guys, boneless and gutless and all this, breaking them down and then carrying them on their back, that's for suckers.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of work. Tell me this. How are you supposed to get too far from the cooler doing that kind of nonsense, getting away from the roads and getting away from your truck?
Right, and then you run the risk of dehydration.
Dehydration. If you drink enough hams in a day, you'll never dehydrate. Have you seen your pee? It's crystal clear. It's like a filtration device. I bet you could probably pour that right back in the can and drink it again.
Yeah. Interesting.
Warm filtered.
It's warm filtered. So you cool it off.
Yeah.
So when you say cut an elk in half, are you talking like in half down the length of the back, or like in half front versus back?
Yeah, front versus back. Third rib back. I believe it was the.
You cut a third rib back.
Yeah, they call it Native American style. I believe.
Because I always thought that if you cut it that way, the front would be too heavy if he's got antlers. But I guess you don't see a problem with that.
No, I don't care nothing about antlers. I mean, whether it's legal or not. I mean, that's how do you know it didn't have antlers? Maybe they fell off after I shot him. I mean,
that's true.
Prove it. Prove me wrong. I mean, I'd like to see him do it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like when we're talking, when we're still on this gear topic, Nike or Air Jordans, or like kind of what do you recommend?
Yeah, I like the Air Jordans.
Do you?
Right?
Those Air Jordans are pretty good.
Yeah, I'm not gonna run those LeBrons. He's a little lame.
Lame is right. I'm glad we see eye to eye. I knew we'd get along.
I'm old school, classic, if you will.
Yeah, classic.
I mean, MJ.
Mm-hmm.
He's helped me up the mountain more than once or twice. He keeps my foot on the gas pedal.
Mm-hmm.
Never the brakes, and we just go. We get them.
Here's a question I don't ask a lot of people because I feel like I don't get good answers with this. But when you are road hunting, right? Mm-hmm. Going down the road, what kind of music are you playing? Who would be your go-to? Like, are we talking Lynyrd Skynyrd, or are we talking Metallica, or are we talking Hank Williams Sr.?
Well, there's a mix. I have a mixtape.
Do you?
I play. It's 8-track. I made.
Yeah.
And Lynyrd Skynyrd, one of them. I like the late great Jim Croce too. Time in a Bottle is pretty hard to beat. When you've had too many dang Chardonnays on the mountain, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. And then sometimes I like a little Freddie Fender, if you will.
Yeah.
It's kind of sounds of the south of the border.
Oh yeah, you betcha.
And then there's Roger Whittaker too. Mm-hmm. That man can whistle like nobody's business. He's a man after my own heart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too. No, that's fantastic advice too, and that's exactly the kind of motivation people need. Kind of as we're kind of rolling out of the gear talk. What about camp setup? What does that look like to Doug Fluty?
Well, usually I just drink till I pass out, and then I sleep in the front of the truck. But if I was to have, because I can be mobile that way, if I was to have a base camp, I got a real nice tent. I got the Walmart I bought when they first opened up.
Like a good Coleman.
Yeah. Back in the 80s, I believe it's an Ozark Trail they call it. And it's a little moldy. The material kind of sticks together. You got to pull it apart like one of them fancy magazines back in the day when you were a teenage boy.
How the hell did that happen?
Yeah, I don't know. Kind of like your socks. But anyway, the material on that tent will stick together. Mm-hmm. You got to kind of pry it apart, and then you got to let it air out a little bit. And if for some reason you'd have to go back to camp, then that's a pretty good shelter. Gotcha. Interesting. Okay. All right. So you just camp right out in the truck, man. Yeah. With Coleman sleeping bag. Yeah. Good. Yeah. Now, you guys, do you have any kind of nutritional advice for an elk hunter? Like, I'm always partial to beef top ramen. Oh. And Pop-Tarts. Yeah, those are good. Yeah, those are good. What is your take? What about grits? Yeah, grits. They're overrated. That's a food of the South, Southern comfort food. But I just never felt comfortable eating it. Just kind of gritty to me. But I prefer sardines with or without mustard on them. Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah. Sometimes I like a little tapatio on the sardine. Ooh. Okay. I have the body of an athlete, and you have to fuel it. So you got your complex fats. And you got your proteins. Mm-hmm. I like those raspberry-filled Hostess powdered donuts too. I mean, that's where you get your carbohydrates and sugars from. And you can't race up the mountain. I mean, the cut bank of the road without fueling your body. So that's my go-to. No, I agree. I mean, people, I think that's something that is a big hang-up for a lot of hunters is being able to fuel their body properly. On the mountain, do you when it comes down to between like a Gatorade versus the hams, and you're thirsty, what are you going for? Hams every time. Hams hand down. Okay, every you're pretty passionate about that. There's a pork chop in every can. It's like an angel pissing on your tongue. Hams. Yeah. Let me tell you what. I guess you're right. I didn't even think about it that way. It's like an angel pissing on your tongue. No, that's. Now, sometimes I will mix it up, and I'll put some fruits and vegetables, well, most of the vegetables, and I'll put a spicy V8 in there. It's a little bit caliente. Caliente, I use that word from my friend south of the border, but it's mucho caliente with that hams. And that's a good pick me up.
Pretty good combination, huh?
If the guy's feeling a little puny from the night before, it ain't bad.
Oh wow.
Ain't bad.
Okay.
Yeah, and if for some reason you were to bring a bottle of vodka, you can have yourself a Bloody Mary.
I like your thinking, Doug.
Oh yeah.
I like
it. Yeah, and now something that's overlooked about the elk flute, and I'm here to tell you, not a lot of people talk about this. Maybe they don't know about it. But this baby doubles as a beer bong.
Oh, I was wondering if you were going to bring that up.
Yeah, I mean, you get tired, you don't want to drive all the way back to camp, or if you are at camp, it don't matter. At the end of the day, you've had a great day, blowing your flute all over the mountains, pissing off all these other so-called public land elk hunters. Hey, I don't care if there's a sign. I'll go behind an orange paint or a sign that says no trespassing. I mean, who are they?
Yeah, I mean, it's God's land.
It's right. God didn't make a fence.
Yeah.
He put that land out there for each and every one of us. And I'll tell you what, at the end of the day, that beer bong will come through so good. I mean, you load that baby up with a couple of ice cold hams, maybe a little V8, maybe not, maybe a shot of whiskey. And you just beer bong that thing at camp, boom, you'll sleep like a baby.
Interesting. Okay, I'm going to try that this year. Yeah. I like that idea.
Yeah, you should try it.
I'm gonna. Don't put it past me because I'll do it.
Yeah.
So you were talking earlier, and I want to kind of get your take on the difference between if you're going after a cow elk versus like a big bull. What do you prefer?
Do I prefer a big bull or a cow?
Yeah.
I prefer whatever I can get an arrow into. Listen,
okay.
I'm not out there being picky. I ain't some sort of trophy hunter. Listen, whatever follows my flute, my magical flute in, it's just like Peter Pan. You blow on the flute, here they come running.
What do you say to these guys that are up there and they hear you down there bugling off the road, and they kind of make the term Doug Fluty like this negative connotation, right? And it's totally ignorant, obviously. What do you say to that guy?
Yeah, well, they're just mad. They're just mad. I don't say nothing because you know what? They're mad because they walked their happy asses clear to the bottom of that valley, blowing on that big flaps his gums bugle tube, and I'm up there in the truck blowing on my elk flute. Nope, didn't hear a bull here. Just heard that guy banging his tube around the woods. I'm up here singing the song of September.
Okay. No, I like that.
They hate me because they ain't me.
All right, Doug, we're going to kind of start wrapping this up. I want to get your, get some of your last little tidbit of advice for elk hunters and let them, what do they need to be prepared for coming into this next season? Do you feel like it's going to be a good season?
I think it's going to be a great season. I had this here coronavirus, they call it. I never have liked that Hispanic beer whatsoever. I mean,
me neither.
I like this stuff, made in America. It's a lot smoother going down. You can't beat a good hams, but anyway, with this whole coronavirus, I think there'll probably be a lot of people just not wanting to go in the woods. They're scared. They don't want to catch something from a bull elk. And me, I want him to catch something from me. It's a broadhead through the ribs or the butt or the neck or anywhere. I don't care where I get him. Right in the eye. Yeah.
Do you have anything like parting thoughts for anybody that has kind of portrayed you as in like this negative light before we wrap this up?
Well, I just want to say you might not want to start writing checks with your mouth that your body can't cash, because I will catch you one of these days. It might be, at the trailhead unloading your fancy packs with your trekking poles and all your fancy equipment. But I will find you and I will catch you and I'll give you a piece of my mind, if not the business end of my fist.
I like that. So just be advised, folks.
Yeah,
be advised.
You might be spitting bicuspids on the trail.
Ooh.
Let me tell you what.
Yeah, that's serious.
Yeah, it is. Hope you got a good dentist.
And I appreciate you coming on, Doug. I think people are going to get a lot out of this episode, and they're going to be a lot better in September because of it.
Yeah, I think I'll probably have swayed a lot of people into using this elk flute.
Yeah,
I mean,
the flute.
It gets a bad rap, but that's just from people that can't do it. I mean, it takes a lot of talent and a lot of practice to make this thing rip like this thing. Listen to this.
Yeah,
it sounds just like a bull elk. You just whistle them in with this thing. God dang, stinking thing's starting to tear out. I've been blowing this thing so hard.
Yeah.
It
They
blows
wear out.
in right out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Dang it. Okay, hold. Yeah, okay.
Dang, that sounds pretty good, Doug.
Yeah, well, I ain't no slouch. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, you ain't no slouch. I like it.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
Kick the tires and light the fires. Let's go elk hunting, boys.
All right. I like it. Thanks for coming on, Doug.
Yeah, my pleasure.
That was a lot of fun, and I appreciate it. And we could do this again, right?
Absolutely.
You'll give us like a post-season update after your hunting season this year.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, cool. All right, I'm looking forward to it.
I don't want to brag or nothing, but I'll share some, thoughts of the hunt.
Okay, good. All right, sounds good.
Okay.
Thanks a bunch.
Thank you.
Your support and listenership is what makes this show possible. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please leave us a review at Apple Podcasts or on our Facebook page and share it with somebody else who you think would like the show too. And as always, come see us at Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter at The Western Huntsman. Stay Western, and I'll see you on the mountain.